Alrighty, guys, welcome back. As you can see here, we are in another episode of Weightroom Overtime. And today I am excited as I have a really special guest that I think we ended up connecting after a while through graduate school and some mutual friends. And I really didn't really know Austin here, which is my guest here, until I started my graduate program in which we had a class. But welcome, Austin. How you doing?
I'm good, brother. How you doing?
Not too bad, just repping the jersey as you mentioned earlier, Got to rep the USA as we finally won something.
That was a good game. It was a bit against the run of play, but we'll take it. We'll take it.
I actually unfortunately didn't get to watch it. I watched the recaps just because I was driving back from Washington to Montana during the game, and I didn't get to watch any of it until all the replays later that night. So I wish I would have watched it. It would have been insane, especially because I'm Mexican too. I root for Mexico and in the USA, and it's just like a household divides into like
Hey, man, it's a
who's against
win-win
who.
for you. It's like, oh yeah, we won. I won today.
Yeah,
A...
I support both, but cool, man. Welcome. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me today and
Of
being a
course.
guest for my show. I do have a couple things lined up for you, some couple questions, but before we get started, just Austin, give us a little bit of background on what you do today, where you come from, specifically in the soccer world, right? Because this is basically of like exercise, sport trainers, coaches, and stuff like that. Give us a little bit of background about you, what you do today, and then what your goals are.
Yeah, I currently work at Sierra Nevada University in Lake Tahoe, Nevada. It's unbelievable. I'm very fortunate to get to live in the place I do and do the work I get to do. I'm the head coach of the men's program, and I'm very certain I'll be able to help Kyle on the women's program. So it's good. Just this is where I'm from as well. So I just took over this job 8 9 weeks ago now.
I was about to
And
say, yeah, weren't you at Blue Mountain like three
was at
months
Blue
ago?
Mountain
Or at least
just
the last time I spoke to you.
yeah, Blue Mountain just shortly before this. I actually had to leave right before season started with those boys, and they went. I mean, they were an unbelievable team this year too. So I mean, it's been a whirlwind of change for me in my life. But it's always good moving forward. I love collegiate athletics. I love youth athletics, but I love collegiate athletics more just because of the autonomy to really push them and get them in an environment and really, really do the kind of work that you get to do and work alongside folks like yourself. So push young men and young women to be the best versions of themselves athletically and academically.
Yeah, cool. So I know. So who's taking over the men's program over at Blue Mountain? Because I know Jordan was helping you a little bit from the last interview I had. He told me he was helping you out a little bit. Did they
Yeah,
hire somebody right away, or they just added him to the
we
squad?
had a good coaching staff there in the men's side. I was so lucky. Jeremy Talbot was an assistant coach. I had Oscar Munez, I had Oscar Alegria, I had Carlos Solero, and we had Ricardo. But Oscar Alegria ended up being one of the final candidates. I mean, actually, I heard a lot of people applied for it because of how good we built the program, and he ended up,
Yeah.
getting the bid for it. And then everyone else fell in line and is still sticking with it. So they have a strong coaching staff. They only got 3 goals scored on them this last year. It's a great
Oh,
group
wow.
of kids. I wish I could have stuck with it, man.
Dude, yeah.
But
One thing I tell a lot of players, like young players today, is about the NWAC league, right? Some people
it's
don't
great.
like JUCO. They don't like the idea of going play in a community college and then growing up the ropes that way. They want to go straight to like a D1 school or a bigger school.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on that? Because I know obviously I came from Walla Walla Community College, which is the top tier program in the NWAC at the time when I played. I don't know about now. It's been a year since I've kind of followed, and I've also played at CBC, which I
Yep.
guess those are top
Both
teams
good
in the
programs.
division.
Yep. Yep.
And there's some great players. They recruit players from everywhere a lot of the times too. What are your thoughts on that compared to obviously you came from Nevada, right? Coming into the NWAC.
It's funny. I actually an NWAC product as well.
Oh wow,
I
where did
don't
you
think
play
you
it
knew
again?
this. I played at SWAC
Oh yeah,
in
yeah.
St. I played there for 2 years as well. And so I had opportunities to go D2. I had opportunities, in Sonoma State,
Yeah.
Chico State,
Humboldt's
and
pretty close to there too, right?
yeah, yeah. I didn't for some reason they didn't scout me, but Zimmerman, he's a top name coach
Yeah.
at Sonoma State. he looked at me, but he told me, like, I'm going to sit the bench for the first year. And I laughed. I was like, dude, like, I'm so good. Like,
Yeah.
and really we're not. It's so funny getting humbled. And, NWAC was a great experience for me. I came in at a good level. I had to earn my minutes still, which is funny. Like, I thought I was going to be top dog. And I'm sure you had a similar
It's
experience
surprising
to what I
how
was.
difficult that league is your first year too.
Totally. And being a coach in it later on, it's funny. But my advice for any young man or young woman is, JUCO is where you actually take that step to D1, D2. Going D2, D3, you're not taking that step up very rarely, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, I've sent a lot of kids on from the NWAC up to a decent level.
Yeah.
So and into the right spot. So I think it's great.
Which is
I really do.
beautiful.
It's about the coach and it's about where the program is, frankly, less so than just the environment.
Yeah, definitely. And no, you're at Sierra Nevada College, right?
University, they changed the name. They just changed the university. So I'm pretty sure you had a friend that had gone to. Maybe
I had a
it was
few.
the
I had a
CBC
few from the Tri Cities play
that
at
had gone
Sierra Nevada.
there.
Yeah,
And
Angel,
so
I
we
think
just
was
changed
his name.
university.
Is it Angel? Sound familiar?
Yep.
He was a
Yep,
left-footed
yep.
dude.
I've never met him, but he follows our social media, and he's always like, "Hey, that's cool, seeing what's going on. I love seeing that."
Yeah,
So,
and there's this another
um,
other pal. I forgot his name. He follows me on social media too, and I know he played there a year or two. Obviously after I think CVC. So it's kind of cool how they have a program there, and we played them too when I played at Eastern. During our preseason, I remember them
yeah,
heavily Hispanic program at the time.
it's always going to be. I mean, especially with me around, I love my Latino boys. I think they're so thankful for the opportunity. They work really hard.
Yeah.
Reno's got a ton of Latin kids, Carson, so it just makes sense. They can just drive up, and they're you guys are always willing to put in more work than others, oftentimes.
Yeah, so I had another question. So I came from Arizona, so I was able to see. I kind of lived all over the U.S., kind of most in the Western states, but I've been able to see different. I would say development leagues, or I guess clubs in local cities like Tucson. I'm in Great Falls now, which they have a state tournament this weekend, starting tomorrow, I think. Here in Great Falls, which is like Rush, I think the Rush program. And so I've been able to
Yeah,
see kind of like different styles of soccer in a sense. And it's funny to me because when I played in Tucson, even just the men's competitive league, and I would stick around and watch some of the youth programs and stuff like that and play. It's completely different from the Northwest. And I don't know if you catch that when you go in recruiting, because obviously you recruit for players. Do you happen to see it like some sort of difference between, Pacific Northwest talent, or I guess structure of soccer, which is more in my eyes, it's more I wouldn't say developmental because all of them are, but it's more of a systematic play system in a sense, right? Compared to down in Tucson, it's very individualized. Like it's not really like I'm gonna pass it here. Here's my next move or anything like that. It's kind of just more fast. It's kind of just hitting the ball forward. You're trying to get the guys behind the ball.
I mean, yeah, every area is going to have its own
Yeah.
cultural influences, right? Well, obviously, and then every area is going to have its coaching differences. I think the biggest difference I see is East Coast versus
Oh
West
yeah,
Coast
definitely.
soccer, and then within those divisions, it's rural or
Street
kind of
soccer.
like lower socioeconomic versus real like tight club soccer, right? And East Coast soccer is very choreographed, very very
Physical.
finessed, physical. Those athletes are very tight. They're very good. Sometimes they struggle against the free flow of the West Coast soccer,
The very
but the
creative
West
players and
Coast is
stuff that they face.
yep. And then just like like I've never seen someone do something like that, right? But again, the West Coast players will struggle against the
Yeah.
physicality and then just the true instinct of the East Coast. So I think they level each other at some point. It's we're all still humans when the day's done. Even the best of the best are humans. So, but yeah, I mean, there's a true difference. I mean, especially when you get higher up in the club structure. I mean, guys get more athletic, but then they get more choreographed in their
Yeah.
training. And I think sometimes there's less freedom. For instance, we're at here in Reno. The club scene is hit and miss, I'd say.
Yeah.
And some groups are really well coached, some groups are not so well coached, and there's a lot more freedom
Yeah.
within that. So you bring in a kid and he's raw. I mean, he's super athletic, of course, but he's raw, 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 raw. And it was just good, right? You got a free palate, but sometimes you have to coach. Oh, hey, you've never learned
Yeah.
pressing. You've never learned the build phase. Or you didn't have good enough players around you to
Or the
really
counters or anything like
instrument
that. Yeah.
the yeah, any of that pieces, and I mean, sometimes I've taken some really excellent players and had to go, oh, like
Take a step
we've never
back,
done
kind
film.
of.
Okay, let's learn how to do it. And
Yeah.
it's okay. And it's fun, and they're always so thankful
Dude, I'm
for it.
glad you
So
you
yeah.
brought that up because that's one of the main reasons I started this show and started bringing coaches on. Is because where I grew up in Pasco, dude, it's like a whole talent pool of athletes, specifically soccer players, dude. Like if you go to Pasco today and go to the YMCA, dude, you're looking at 5-year-olds starting to play futsal, dude. Like that's why they're so good growing up because they just grew up in that street style futsal soccer, and then they get to high school and some of them make it to the next level. But I think a lot of it was missing is exactly what you just brought up. It's taking the simple things, being consistent and accurate every single time. Like how often can you make that pass every single time in a game? You know what I mean? And I think that's where essentially kind of where it fell to development wise. They just care about winning. You know what I mean? So it's like it's kind of hard, and I feel like I don't feel sad because I didn't have the mentorship kind of growing up. I just kind of balled out in a sense, and I actually had some good coaches like Chad, Mike Pardini, and everybody like that played at the next
Oh,
level.
you had
Huh?
Wagner, huh?
I
You had
did,
Chad
yeah.
Wagner.
Well, Wallace. So, and he was my club coach too when I played U18s with the Rivers. Yeah. So, his style of soccer is completely different too, and Mike's because he was Italian, so they were the physical, like, hey, get stuck in and all that kind of stuff. So, we learned real
Yeah,
quick how to
yeah.
let go of the ball, you know. But my whole goal was like, and my question to you is, what would you recommend for young athletes that are not necessarily, I would say, low income family, low income athletes, like people out of Pasco, right? Like people out of the towns that you live in, where maybe they don't have those great coaches, development. Maybe it's their dad, or maybe it's a local coach playing Mexican league, which happens a lot, and there's nothing bad to it. But how do you get those kids to the next level? Because I think there's a whole thing across the country that they don't have money to pay at Crossfire. They don't have money to go play at Washington Premier or Seattle clubs, like, and that's where those kids end up going to the next level. But what about, the kids that do have the talent? They just need to be coached right. Like, what do you recommend for that? Yeah.
Sacrifice is number one. No one's gonna hand you anything. It doesn't matter the color of your skin, what you've done, how much money you have in your life. I think you know, I think that's first and foremost. So, I've had kids in my program that their dad will buy them the car down the street if they ask for it, and
Yeah.
this or that, right? And then I've had kids in my program that are paying their mom's rent in the same year, right? And like it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around it, but the reality is that both those kids want the
Yeah.
same thing. They want to play pro, right? And one kid has to sacrifice so much more and work so much harder to make that a reality. And any distractions or this, that, or the other is
Yeah.
just going to get in the way. So you have to be driven. You have to be thankful. Um, I think first and foremost, if I was a young child,
Like a high schooler.
going in my middle school,
Yeah.
high school, right? I just train as much as you can. We're in the information age. You can grab as much information as you want. Um, and I think the reality is for someone that doesn't have that coaching, you're probably going to end up going
Yeah.
to a junior college, and embrace that. Find the right coach. So find the coach that has a little bit of connection, that can send you the right way, that runs
Yeah.
their program the right way. The questions asked: do you run a weight training program? Do you do fitness in the off season? Are you scheduling games? Who have you
Yeah.
sent on? Little things like that, go a long ways. Relationships matter so much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's how I got my current job that I have. It's how you make things. So, I mean, hard work, relationships, and getting a little
Yeah.
lucky as
Timing
well.
too sometimes.
I think part of timing is crazy, isn't it? So, yeah, I mean, as far as getting into the right club, and sometimes
Money
it's
wise
tough.
too, dude. You
I
can't
grew up
just
in a
pay
very similar area.
$1,000 to go play,
Nope,
in a club. My parents would never pay for that. I'll tell you that.
exactly. And Reno has a lot of parallels to Pasco as far as just like poor kids, poor infrastructure. I mean, the teams I played on, we were paying like seven
Yeah, yeah.
hundred bucks a
A
year
season too, or
maximum
whatever.
to like make it work. And and it was, I paid for half of it, but I mean that's cheap compared to what some of these kids pay. I hear five, six thousand
And dude, I
dollars.
know a
What?
couple weeks.
It's
I know a couple weeks. I had posted that question on my poll on my Instagram, my Facebook about the U.S.
all that.
Soccer dying essentially in the U.S. I guess kind of people looked at it where it's like it's completely dying, and I was more in a sense it's kind of a new wave in a sense of
It's different.
development because now we have social media where they're gonna try to be a person on there, be famous. Like, are they the cool kid at school? Are they the cool athlete? Where I don't think their focus is the same. Maybe kind of when you grew up, where all you had was a ball and everybody met up at the park and go play. Compared to now, and that was my whole thing. It was just like,
Exactly.
how much do you guys actually see it going on today? Which I don't really see it much unless it's a practice, unless there's a coach and a team. They're going to be playing, but I don't really see kids out there anymore as they used to. But it could be because times has changed, right? I don't know. My kids are very young. They're two.
I mean, yeah, it's less so, but you just gotta go find that kid. I mean, from my perspective, there's still a lot of
Or
young
hungry.
men and women that are doing that stuff. I mean, as a recruiter, like that's probably my most important part of my job is identifying talent. Is just to go find those hungry kids that want it. So, um, oftentimes you find those kids in the rural setting. It blows my mind, but like there's a lot of real hungry kids in the rural setting that live that
Like the
dream
Friday night
still.
futsal games.
So, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man, or just the kid that's 14 playing in the Hispanic League or whatever it is. It's I mean always exists. I mean anyone can go to the Las Vegas Mayor's Cup and go
Yeah.
find the Crossfire kids. Anyone can go to the Colorado Rush Cup, but I think there's always a spot for that young man and young woman in the rural setting if they want to go get themselves seen and there's tons of resources, online resources they can put into and
Yeah,
to,
and
to
my
help
other
you.
question on there was too was
And don't
like,
be afraid.
do you think it's a money issue now where it comes to soccer clubs in local cities? If somebody's just trying to make money somehow, compared to why don't we focus on the kids? Let them play. And I get both sides where somebody has to make some sort of money to be able to set it up for them. But $600 for a season to me it's insane, dude. You know what I mean? But where does the city come in and pay for the fields or the water or whatever it may be that they're charging so much for?
It's definitely funny. I always make the joke of late stage capitalism where we're just taking advantage of everything. But and
Yeah,
obviously people need wages and to be paid within that, if they dedicate their life to it. But I mean, it seems expensive. I've not been too much on the youth
yeah.
side. The youth program that I ran in Pendleton with a few folks there was very grassroots, and we just offered free coaching, and
It's a good
I just
experience
stepped
too.
in as much as we could.
Yeah,
Um, it is, but I see some of these other clubs, and I don't even want to get involved in youth soccer in Reno, Tahoe right now, just
politics.
because I just it's politics, man, and I like kids so much, and I don't want to get into this nitpick, and I don't care about winning at that level at the college level. I do, but and it's just very interesting. So I think the answer to that is, I mean, it absolutely is there. I think there's got to be a balance. Someone's got to
Scholarships or
have
something
some
for
morals on how they charge kids, and yep. And I think most clubs do a good
if
thing. I
the
think the
player is good
NorCal
though. I
club
feel like
might
if
be
the
the
player
most
isn't good,
invested
they're
in
gonna be
that.
like, you're cut.
I know, and I mean I don't know if I'm
Yeah,
against that per se, but then the ASO needs to be just as cheap for that kid for whatever it is, just so we can access the recreational soccer. I'm a huge
oh yeah,
believer in recreational lifetime soccer as well. I still play crappy soccer
yeah. And
myself, and I love it. So
one thing that I've done since I've been coaching players on this, I haven't done it for a couple months since grad school for the most part because it takes most of my time in the afternoons. But before, and I'll have players here and there where they reach out and they want to get trained. But a lot of the parents, their athlete or their kid is probably like 5, 6, 7, 8, trying to buy one-on-one training programs with me, and I'm like, hey, look, this kid needs to learn how to love the sport first before we start nailing him on different exercises and different things. Yes, I can help him with the fundamentals and stuff like that, but this kid needs to go play with a bunch of other kids and just love scoring, love in the game. And I think that's how that hunger or that passion comes from, instead of like the parents just kind of trying to peak him very early on, and what are they going to do when he's 13? He's peaked out, I guess, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Lo- lo- Love for the game needs to come first. You can't. I mean, I've had so many kids that I've worked out. I say kids, young men that I've worked out with that are
Yeah.
burnt out because of that style of training. And peaking late is just fine. Peaking late is just. I was a late bloomer, and I wasn't. I didn't make varsity till
Oh
my
wow.
senior year of high school. And I played semi-pro indoor and I played semi-pro outdoor. So it wasn't like
You were the
I just wasn't
definition, dude,
athletically
of what.
there,
So wait,
right?
hold
Like
on. Before,
I
let's
was,
back up real quick. So when we started our graduate program, I think we were in the initial classes, right? Like the anatomy classes and stuff like that. And then we kind of just. What
yeah,
did you end up studying? I didn't even ask. I thought we were all in the same boat.
sports performance, sports performance training. I really wanted to make
Oh,
sure that I
okay.
got my athletes peak performance
Okay, so
prior
that's why
to.
it makes sense.
Yeah, that was huge for me.
I don't,
It's something I don't think I knew.
yeah, dude, I
It's
didn't
something I
really
didn't
learn
know
that
was
until
needed to.
later on in graduate school, where we started learning about, training age and how long they should be training, like sport specific and periodized training programs. And yeah, they say early on you're gonna peak
Oh
early,
yeah,
dude, in high school, and that's it. I think that's what happened. That's what happens to most people. And then people that start playing basketball early on and different sports and end up, sticking to one specific sport later in their, teenage years, like yourself, end up peaking at the right time, dude. Where you're gonna go to college or you're gonna go, play somewhere else.
yeah. My favorite kids are the ones that grow while at college, and they're like, "Oh my god, what is my body doing right now?" Like, oh my goodness. There's this kid at Blue Mountain right now. He's a very special young man. His name is Alan Contreras, and he came in, didn't have any other scholarship offers, 4.0 kid. Um, and he just had a tear of a season. I think he only got three
Yeah.
goals scored on him all year. He's a center back, and we're gonna pull him away and probably bring him up here to Sierra Nevada University. But Gonzaga's talking to him now. I sent him to Aaron Lewis up there, and I'm like, fuck, okay, excuse me. But at some point, you're just like, maybe this kid's too
Yeah.
good for my program. So, and again, no offer. CBC was right down the road and didn't think of anything of him. Wenatchee was 10 miles and didn't think of anything of him. But we gave him a chance, and he might have been the best player, in the East
Yeah, it's
Region
been
this
a
year. It's
while
just
since I've
crazy
seen one of
how
those
that
NWAC
happens
games. And I
sometimes.
know my buddy Martin over at CBC has been inviting me, but I've been moving and I've been helping the program out a little bit with strength training and stuff like that. But I went the strength and conditioning route
Nice,
for
nice.
graduate schools, and it's super specific into what you want to study. And I stuck all my studies, dude. Like everything that I did was specific to soccer. Like yes, we have to learn other sports and other stuff, but like me, all I care
Of
about,
course.
dude, is how do I make better soccer players? How do I, get these people to the next level? You know what I mean?
Every
So is mine. Every post,
every
dude.
paper that I wrote was about soccer, pretty much. Yeah, it's always. Yeah, might as well use it to cross train. Yeah, and to learn what you're learning about. There's a few that not so much, but
He's a
yeah.
great player
By the
too. I
way,
don't know if you've ever
Martine
seen
is a
him play
wonderful human being.
back
I've
in
got
his
a lot of
day.
respect for that. No, I've heard
Evergreen.
good things. I
And
keep
I
my wall
played him
on
when I was at EOU.
Evergreen.
He was the
I'm
senior at
thinking,
Evergreen.
yeah,
Dude, that guy was. He's been. So I actually do. Quick story. I was a freshman on the varsity team at Pasco, and he was a sophomore, I believe. And he had recently just moved from California. And this guy was bald headed. He's always been bald headed until like later up in his in his years. But I met him because we were like basically the newcomers of the team, and we essentially had to do all the the hazing of like you had to go pick up the balls, you had to put air in them, pick up the stuff, take out the nets, all that stuff, water and all. So they basically just made us the team's bitch essentially. You know what I mean?
yep, yep.
And we ended up playing together. Even he went to Walla Walla and then he moved. And then, dude, I played again. I played him again, and when I played at Evergreen, so I kind of have been around him for a while, and seen him play and played against him. So he's a solid player. I don't know about now though, but
Absolute solid player. Oh,
you
it all
you
goes away so quick. Let's be
it's funny
clear.
you said that. I went
We're
so the scrimmages here are like open play here in Great Falls. Started up last week, dude. I went on Wednesday because I haven't played in probably like 3 or 4 months since I left Tucson, and dude, I was sore up until like Sunday morning. Just my dude, I had shin splints, my hips, dude, my core, everything was so sore, and I didn't really feel it till like that next day,
I mean, if you're
dude,
not
I couldn't
playing
get out of bed. I
regularly,
was like, oh my god, I'm so old, dude.
I've been playing 3 days a week here just because there's so much soccer out here. But at first, it was tough. But I, I'm back to playing at like a
Headers.
decent level. I scored a hat trick of headers this weekend in
Peter
outdoors.
Crouch over here, son.
Yeah, I'm 6'4" though, so um, yeah, I'm a big lad. But um, it's still it's amazing like
You used to.
when you
Yeah.
don't train like you would, it definitely
Oh yeah.
it goes away. I mean, your touch is there and your IQ is there, but I mean, some of the other things,
Yeah, and I've been
the
boxing
agility,
and doing
makes me
MMA, but
think
even
that we
that, it's
feel. So it's
just
amazing.
not the same, dude. I'm like, maybe I can do get the bounce or like something, but dude, no way. You get somebody on a cut or a breakaway, they're gone. Yeah,
One thing I will say is it will come back if you train for it. I feel like I'm playing okay soccer right now, and I'm not sitting there embarrassed. So, it always,
it's crazy how
my
we can
bodies are
prepare them,
amazing.
huh?
Bodies
Dude,
are
I'm gonna
amazing.
share something, and I want you to tell me a little bit about it because I know you mentioned to me before in a while. And let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Give me a sec.
Anything that you put on that screen could scare me.
No,
I
dude, it's
passed.
not that bad. Let me see. This one.
Good.
Dude, can you tell us what's going on here? So hold on before we start.
See, there it is.
So Austin here,
It's so funny.
I don't know if you're still a referee, but was a referee. Dude, I wanna hear about that experience because like when I was younger, probably like 18, 19, I refed like some kids games, dude, and I refed like Mexican League kid games. It wasn't like Three Rivers or like basic recreational. This was like hardcore parents like yelling at you and cussing at you. I want to hear your experience, dude, because you probably repped at a better level than I did. But I wanted to see, and that's where I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this ever again, dude. But I wanted to hear from you, dude, because you actually did it at the college level, right? Or you do high school?
I used to, I actually was an ISO ref. I was refing D2 games,
I just
and
found it
whatnot. But
online,
this
dude.
picture was like some intramural game at our college. It was flag football game actually. When I first showed up to Blue Mountain Community College, I was like, oh, sure, I'll throw a thing on and ref it. And this is the only picture that the marketing department could put in the newspaper for me. I was like, Annie, and this looks
I wanted
so
to bring back
bad,
some
but
memories,
it
dude.
is what it is. But no, it's funny. I love refing. I try to get a lot of my students and my athletes into refing because it brings a completely different perspective to the game. Learning how to manage a game and learning how to be cool when people are screaming and everything at you. It's just it's good and I will say that power is very unique. I don't care what anyone says. Everyone likes a bit of authority, a bit of power in life, and being a referee gives you that autonomy
I
to
choose
like
this.
be an orchestrator of the game, and
Yeah.
I really feel like you're like truly making the game flow and making it beautiful. Now, I always was told by my assigners
As far as like
too much stuff
tackles or
goes,
like
uh, and it was probably because
oh, you like to get
I was a
stuck
big
in.
of a
It's like, hey,
thug
dude, come on,
myself
grow
when I
up.
played, so like, deal with it, yeah. And so I always let more go, but I think I always dealt with it in a good way. I love refereeing. I think it's an incredible part of the game. And good money,
Really?
jeez, man, good money, better money than coaching.
Well,
I can tell you.
the better licenses you have, obviously, too, right?
Yeah,
That
way
plays a
better
role
money
in
than
your pay.
coaching. Yeah, and just experience and just being a good ref, you'll just make a lot of good money.
Good
They'll
cardio,
send you
good
around to
workout.
do things. It's crazy to me that. Yep, and it's crazy to me that college players
Even
don't
while
get
they're
into
in
refing
school,
because they can make a career out of it.
because they have to travel, right?
It'd be tough during school, but they can definitely start getting their feet in the ground. Yep, yep. But spring season and in tournaments and stuff like that, they can get their feet wet, and then as soon as that's over, I mean, they're only 23 when they graduate. Not a lot of good refs are peaking until 30,
So,
31.
what got you
So
into
you need that
refing now?
trust to get even into the MLS or to NISO.
Oh, is that what it's just like I need extra cash, dude?
Not money. It was just when you're in college, it's like when you're in
Yeah.
college, like coaching and refereeing was not a passion. and it became both of them became passion. I had to make the hard
Yeah.
decision to go into coaching. I just love coaching so much more. But yeah, definitely. I mean, it was money
Yeah, I remember
first,
you
and
told me
then
you used to be a
love
ref, and I'm
the
like,
game
I'm
second.
gonna get a picture of this ref and let him tell me the story. but
Oh no!
but yeah, dude. So you
That's
just
funny.
moved from Blue Mountain to Sierra Nevada. Um, your season starts. I know COVID messed everything up. Is your season still aligned at the same fall? Is it your fall or spring? Are you wait? Hold on. Are you in what conference?
We're false. Yeah, it's NAI CalPAC, so it's all the Northern California, SoCal, and Arizona Cal NAI schools. There's another division of NAI in California.
Yeah,
But I would say it's pretty similar to the CCC NAI program with some really
yeah,
poor programs and some really good programs in
yeah, dude. It's
Oregon.
crazy. And
So
what are your thoughts
same,
on the CCC?
same
Obviously, I'll
idea.
be part of the Providence University now, and going back, and I'm excited when EOU comes and when we go to EOU and stuff like that, because obviously that's where I played. But when I played, and obviously yeah, I was on that first team at EOU, so
CCC
it
is
didn't
great.
really seem as a program that had been established. It was more in a sense like a great experience for me because I was part of the first team and got to play with some of my best friends from CBC and stuff like that. We all went together, so it was a great experience for me as far as roommate wise and college wise. But dude, when I went from high school to Walla Walla, the level of play, dude, just snap of a button, dude. It was quick, and I played with Chad, and so he recruited players that were, sometimes 5-star recruits. We had this guy Kyle Menchaca from Boise. Dude, that kid was like a Nike Athlete of the Year or something like that at the time, and like Centennial High School, and dude, we had some like great players. And then I remember going to EOU even a step further. Dude, that league, when we played like Great Falls at the time, dude, they just had nothing but international players. And I'm like, dude, I'm used to playing, Mexican League YMCA over here. Now I'm getting these freaking Australians, Brazilians, crafty on the ball, smart, dude. These guys been playing since they were same age as mine, but just at a different level, you know what I mean? And like me being able to see that and experience that level of play, I'm just like, dude, I don't think I'm good enough to go play it like at the MLS, dude, or like seeing these players. I'm like, there's, yeah, it definitely is. And I wish.
It's humbling. By the way,
Oh, he is,
Kyle is coaching Boise now.
dude. That
I
kid
met
when
him
he was
about
in
two
when
years
he was
ago.
at
Yeah,
community college,
Timberline High School.
dude.
Yeah,
That kid was fucking nasty, dude.
I
Nasty,
heard.
nasty player.
I heard.
Um, and
I
but
heard.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's I wish that was what kids can experience or know now, dude, because it'll really like make them feel like you're not good enough. But hey, you got to work harder now. You understand like how good these players out here. Even when I tried out for FC Tucson, dude, there was these like 16, 17-year olds, dude. These kids were nasty, dude. Like, and obviously they're younger. They have the, lighter weight and stuff like that. And they were just quick on the ball, off the ball, just at a different level at their age. Dude, I'm like, this is where kids need to be, dude. Like, where these kids getting developed, you know what I mean? And like, just wanted to hear your thoughts, dude. Like, obviously you played in different times than I did, right? I think before me, like college wise. Yeah, a couple of years.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I'm
Dude,
31 now.
have you seen an evolution of players as far as like is it getting any better, or do you feel like it's more? I guess there's more exposure now because things have changed. Obviously, the world's changing too.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. I mean, I look at these kids here just locally where we're from, and they're just
Yeah,
better than we were. I mean, we're the same athletics, but just better coached, better trained, better soccer
training
players.
programs now. I don't think training
Um,
programs were a thing
top
back
to
then, dude.
bottom.
Until high school, maybe.
And yeah, I mean, the training program.
We just played all the time.
No, and we were fit, and we were hardworking, and we were mentality giants, and but phasic. I mean, it was just no one really taught me soccer similar to
Yeah,
you in a real analytical sense until I got to college, and even then it was pretty surface level until I started really researching it. It's funny to see the transformation. The coaching that my players got at my last community college versus the coaching I got at my community colleges is much better. I love Ray Fabian, but
Yeah.
that's just how the world should go. We want to progress. We want to use the information that we're given, right? I will say under Ray Fabian, I was a freak athlete. I ran a
432.
4:32
I think my
man.
fastest was
So
4:58.
um,
I think that was my
yeah.
fastest.
Yeah, he he made me a very good athlete, right? And so like all those things were always around. It's the soccer side. It's the real,
Yeah.
get through the grit and now play smart as well. It's there, and
Dude, yeah.
there's always
So
a kid
one of
that's
the
better
reasons I
than the
brought that
next
up
kid,
is
man.
because
It's
I
just the
look at my
reality of
career,
never.
or even some of these kids' careers that I've been able to coach, and I've gotten some kids to professional contracts too. But I think, like, for me, looking back at my experience and the way I was kind of developed, there wasn't really a strength training program, dude, until later in like high school. I started lifting weights. But I could just imagine starting at 16, 17, doing an actual periodized straight training program that's gonna benefit you as an athlete. How much more advanced you could have been, you know? And that's where I'm like, dude, I didn't have that. And now, like, doing all these studies and understanding how the body works and how the systems work and anaerobic, your cardiovascular systems, like, hey, soccer, intermittent sport, so it has different things involved. How do we prepare athletes for that? You know what I mean? And that's what wasn't taught to a lot of people until and you made it to the next level. So yeah,
I think there's an unfortunate reality unless they want that information, they have to
yeah.
go get it, or you're
Or
lucky
your
enough
parents
to
are
be placed in
educated
an
within
environment
that,
where that
and understand.
exists.
Yeah,
I think athletes under me have totally right, and or they have the money or resources to get you there. Athletes under me have been pretty lucky to be able to get that kind of training as I've learned. My first year of
trial and error
programming
and
wasn't
stuff.
as great as it is now, and it will always continue to get better, right? With data and
The
information and trial
season
and
and
error,
players are out for the
college
summer,
aviation is
and
kind of
you
tough
gotta
just because of the
keep the
schedules,
workouts in for the summer, and then
the
they
season.
come
Yeah,
back unfit.
and yeah, I mean, how hungry are you? So I think, but it's amazing to me that what I've seen, gains. I just think about the Blue Mountain Boys. We did T-test times, we did vertical jumps, and we did yo-yos.
That's pretty good.
And I think we got vertical
It's a lot
reach
of
to
leg
increase
leg
by
move
about seven
leg
inches on
power
average.
movements.
I know that's insane through.
Never in a program, yeah.
Yep. But I mean, these kids they never, all these Latino boys never done anything like that, right? And
Oh,
all
especially in
of a sudden you
performance,
just
dude.
get
You're
a
gonna be
little bit. And
stronger on the
of
ball while
course, those
somebody's trying to
boosts
shove you
initially are
off. You'd be like,
huge, right?
nope.
And then it gets small and small.
Yep.
It becomes a war of attrition later on, right? Like your gains are smaller and smaller, and you have to be so much
Yep.
more driven. You get into those training programs for the first year, your gains are massive. They just are, right? Because your body's never been trained like that. But I think that mentality to stick in and continue to progress is huge. We did, our tea times were down a lot. It's fun, and then the real smart kids and the kids that really like the environment are just so thankful
Have
for
you always
that
have you
kind
always
of thing.
coached
They're
men
like,
and
wow,
women,
coach,
or
this
just
is
men?
awesome. So, and it's so funny. Go ahead.
Yep.
I've worked with the girls at Blue Mountain before even Jordan did, and
Yep.
but
So am I.
I'm definitely better suited for men. I'm a little harsh, I'd say, on a few things. I just I'm no bullshit. Just say it how it is. As I can be an assistant on the women's side, I don't think I could ever be a head coach on the men's side. And Jordan, I think I did a pretty good job being his assistant coach this last year. But I just told the girls, like, I'm gonna come in and just say what it is
Yeah.
and tell you how it is,
I don't
and
think
just
Jordan's very
just
harsh.
push you really hard.
But
And they
I
liked
met
it.
him.
It was a good relationship. So.
He's getting older, dude. The stress is getting to him.
He's gotten a lot harsher over the years, believe it or not.
Yeah, Jordan's a good guy.
Him and I both grew together, so I've got a lot of respect for how he's learned to adapt. Because I mean, by no means by him and I perfect by
Alrighty, man.
from the
Well,
first.
we're
So
almost gonna wrap it
fun
up,
to
but
watch him grow as
just
much
had a
as he's
couple of
done.
things for you. So I know you just got to a new place, right? And you're actively recruiting for the fall. Okay, so there's a lot of coaches and a lot of players that listen to
I
this
am. I'll have to
from
tell you
everywhere
about
because
it.
I kind of been all over, and I know people from all over, and so there's a lot of people that listen to the podcast, and specifically this one compared to my other ones. But what
Nice.
do you look for in players today, or what are you looking for, and what does a program look for and require? Obviously some people are in the East Coast, South, and don't understand what the hell what programs we're talking about. But if you want to dummy it down to like what the program is, understand them, help them understand what you're talking about here.
Just through my learning of coaching college for the last 5 6
Oh
years,
wow,
the program I'm currently at, there was only three guys returning on the roster, right? And I got the job 9 weeks ago.
recruit your
And
own
you would
players
think
from
that
Blue
I would
Mountain.
take a really desperate approach and just bring anyone in
That's good.
that we could bring in. Yeah, we recruited a few, but I thought that was a good place for them. But I think the reality is, you never get desperate. You never want to bring in the wrong kid. I would rather have a small roster of good
Yeah,
human beings than a big roster of good players that are just pricks. So um, the questions I just ask coaches when I recruit, I can analyze a soccer player. I can see a soccer player whether he's good or
yeah.
bad. Like
To
I
watch,
I
yeah,
don't need a coach's opinion on that at all, right? I get paid to do that analysis. What I what I don't get to see when they're playing soccer is this kid a good human? Does he show up on time? Is he respectful? Does he is those pieces of the game? I
yeah.
can't.
It
I
happens.
don't
Yeah,
see it in the game, right? And even if a kid threw a temper tantrum in a game, I've thrown a temper tantrum in the game. I guarantee you have, right? I try not to look at it too much. If he treats his teammates poorly, I do look at it. But to me, those are the most important things because if I'm going to spend 4 years with a human being, they better be a good person, and they better be kind, and they better be grateful for the opportunity,
yeah.
and they should be able to forgive me for my mistakes, and they should be able to, and I should be able to forgive them for their mistakes. So, to me, most
You got to
important
go to
thing. Oh,
class.
and you got to be able to take care of it in the classroom. So that part of it's a privilege, but um, yeah, I mean, that's pretty easy. You can ask anyone that's been under mine. I'm
Yeah,
very
listen to Austin,
stickler
or
for
you're
academics.
out.
I push my guys super hard at Blue Mountain.
That's good though. At least you have some sort of disciplinary,
I've lobbed
like
some heads. We'll
discipline.
say
And I
that.
think that's what. And I was in the military too, so I understand. That's why I'm hard with my players, and even when I just do one on ones, like I need you focused. Like, and then dude, I when I was the strength and conditioning coach for the semi pro team, those guys weren't necessarily coached at a high level. They're just solid players. But dude, as soon as I came in, and like, because I would come in before the coach, dude, I would go so hard on these dudes, like just to get their mind right, because they would just mess around, joke around, whatever it may be. And some of them are coming in late, and I'm like, for every single one that's late, I'm counting the minutes, dude. Like that's how long you're gonna hold the
They weren't
plank,
good at
or like
training.
that's how long you guys are gonna hold, push a position. Like I would just get their mentally, like tackle them mentally, because that's what they needed, dude. Like they're solid players. They just needed to, pay attention and understand. Yeah,
You need that push. Yeah, I'm pretty ruthless with late.
yeah, dude, that
I'll just send you home,
that would suck.
or you get to sit on the side of the field with your cleats next to you and just watch practice. There's no time for that kind of stuff. Oh, it
Yeah,
takes one kid during the season to that happen. They're like, I ain't gonna be that guy. I'm never
especially
gonna
at
be
that
that guy.
level too. It's
So,
like, hey, we're trying to
it's
win here,
discipline, man. And I think it's
Yeah.
just so important.
Especially at the college level, dude.
That's all it's
Yeah.
about. I, I'm working for my next job. I'm working for my next opportunity, right? So we have to do well here and be a family here and do
The
really well
player, yeah.
here so we can all grow. And so I can go
Cool,
be
man.
the
Well,
coach
hey,
I want to
thank you
be,
so
and so
much
you
for your
can be
time. I know we're
the
kind of over
parent
time, but
and the player that
it's
you
great
want to be.
talking to you, man. I appreciate you jumping on and sharing your stories and your rep stories and
No worries.
your college coaching, and we wish you best luck from the family here, and hopefully I don't think you ever come up this way, right? Unless you play Eastern, probably.
Thank you.
Great Falls. It's pretty far.
You never know. So you're in Great Falls right now? Yeah. Um, I will not.
I know
My
you like
little
fly
brother lives
fishing,
in
dude. This is fly
Bozeman.
fishing
That's
country.
as close as I'll be.
So
But if I ever
there's
am
a
up
lot
that
of
way,
fly fishing
I'll
over
reach
here.
out,
But
and
alrighty, man. Thank you so much.
I do
Appreciate
love
it.
fly fishing.
Peace.
Yeah, thanks, brother.